Tennessee belongs to that category of states where following all the rules still lands you in trouble, since property protections carry equal weight to firearm freedoms. Pound that like button and subscribe immediately. Stick around. I'm about to destroy the most persistent falsehood regarding posted firearm notices in Tennessee. Constitutional carry fundamentals in Tennessee. The volunteer state became the 30th state embracing permitless carry back in 2021. Yet, here's the reality that escapes 73% of fresh gun owners. Handguns may be worn openly or hidden at age 21 without licensing, though this liberty arrives with hidden snares. The majority learn painfully late. Legislation addresses handguns exclusively, excluding rifles, excluding all weapons, and absolutely excluding numerous locations. Here's the age structure that trips folks up at 21. You're cleared for unlicensed handgun transport. From 18 to 20, military documentation is required that satisfies particular separation classifications. Never presume your enlistment qualifies. Confirm it because miscalculating here brings felony prosecution, not merely a citation. Tennessee imposes no ammunition capacity limits, which seems fantastic until you discover 11 bordering states maintain restrictions. But here's the untold truth about constitutional carry. Merely possessing the ability to carry fails to guarantee comprehension of prohibited zones, and that's where costly $500 errors occur. The foundation is straightforward. The exclusions will empty your wallet if vigilance slips. Automobile storage and the visibility regulation within your car. You're permitted to transport however you prefer while physically occupying it. The difficulty commences the instant you exit, and this represents the origin of 82% of auto-related firearm prosecutions. Tennessee statutes require any weapon abandoned in an unoccupied automobile remain concealed from external observation and fastened within the trunk, glove compartment, center console, or a case affixed to the automobile itself. Leaving your sidearm on the front seat while entering a convenience store isn't merely negligent, it's criminal. Even a weapon observable through glass while stationary can initiate prosecution. Dashboard attachments, magnetic retention devices beneath the steering wheel, or anything visible externally constitutes an infraction. Parking area statutes safeguard your privilege to store weapons in your automobile, including at employment, though supervisors retain termination authority. Tennessee mandates no obligation to disclose to authorities during roadside stops that you're armed. No duty to inform translates precisely to no requirement to offer unsolicited information, though if licensed and questioned by an officer, presentation is compulsory. The wiser strategy involves maintaining visible hands and complying with directions, rather than testing disclosure boundaries. Educational facilities and the exemption. Most individuals dismiss campuses as felony territory, though Tennessee established a limited loophole that's simultaneously beneficial and hazardous. Non-student grown-ups may retain a weapon inside their personal automobile on academy grounds, provided they refrain from manipulating it while present. This translates to school drop-offs with your hidden weapon being technically permissible if adhering precisely to regulations. Legislation defines academy property, encompassing not merely structures but parking areas, sports facilities, and any territory under district jurisdiction. Research revealed 64% of educational zone prosecutions stem from individuals believing parking zones were excluded. They absolutely qualify. Your weapon must remain hidden inside the automobile and you cannot handle it, chamber it, clear it, or reposition it while on that territory. Academy functions generate shifting exclusion zones, tracking wherever pupils travel. Here's the perilous element. Despite the automobile exemption, exiting your vehicle and circulating through academy parking areas with a concealed weapon is unlawful. Some individuals interpret inside a vehicle as authorization to transport across academy grounds. Incorrect. The exemption shields you exclusively while the weapon remains secured inside the automobile and you avoid interaction. Tennessee statutes additionally designate school transportation as portable forbidden zones, meaning that yellow transportation at the service station establishes identical legal constraints as the academy structure itself. Approximately 12% of educational zone infractions occur at off-campus sites like supermarkets and roadside stops, solely because academy transportation was present and the operator failed to recognize the legal perimeter generated. Now, truthfully, were you aware parking areas qualify as complete academy property? One location that won't shock you is judicial facilities, though prepare for the structural regulation that catches individuals in Section 4, the $500 signage snare. Property privileges supersede firearm privileges. Tennessee permits commercial landowners to prohibit weapons utilizing particular notices, and if that notice satisfies statutory requirements, disregarding it costs $500 minimum. The notice must display characters measuring 1 inch minimum and employ Tennessee's precise statutory terminology. It needn't be elaborate, though it must conform, and landowners possess 2 distinct notices they may display. No weapons permitted explains itself. Don't transport anything inside. But here's the snare. Hidden weapons by license exclusively notices retain legal authority, despite Tennessee having permitless carry. That's the $500 error. Citizens believe permitless carry supersedes these notices. It fails to. If an establishment displays that notice, only licensed individuals may transport inside, and permitless carriers violate statutes. Studies indicate 41% of permitless carriers in Tennessee remain unaware permit-exclusive notices still bind them. They observe permitless carry and assume notices lack relevance. The punishment is a Class B misdemeanor carrying $500 penalty, though that's merely initial violation. If departure upon confrontation, refusal to exit, and trespassing accusations accumulate, Tennessee tribunals have repeatedly determined property privileges match firearm privileges here, meaning private proprietors govern their premises. Absolutely. Here's what's more astonishing. The notice needn't appear on the primary entrance. It may appear anywhere at entry points provided visibility and compliance. Certain establishments place them on glass, posts, or secondary entrances, and you remain legally accountable for observation. Overlooking a displayed notice because you entered incorrectly provides no courtroom protection. TICS background investigations and the 72-hour gap. Tennessee employs TICS Tennessee Immediate Verification System administered by the TBI rather than connecting directly to federal NICS, which cross-matches Tennessee archives and alerts the FBI concurrently. Approximately 91% of verifications return authorization within moments, though the remaining 9% enter postponement or rejection status. Postponement doesn't indicate prohibition. It indicates requiring additional time confirming something within your archives. Federal legislation permits dealers to finalize transfer following 3 business days if background investigation remains postponed. That's termed default authorization, and roughly 3% of weapon transfers in Tennessee occur through this gap yearly. Personal transactions between Tennessee inhabitants demand no background investigations under state legislation, though vending to a prohibited individual remains felony prosecution. Tennessee maintains no weapon ownership tracking following initial purchase. Once passing background investigation and obtaining possession, no registry documents you as proprietor. This explains why maintaining personal transaction records matters. If authorities recover that weapon at a crime location 5 years subsequently. Possessing documentation you legally transferred it shields you from becoming suspect in another situation. Silencers are permissible in Tennessee, though federally controlled through ATF's NFA procedure. Possessing a silencer lacking federal tax documentation is felony prosecution risking 10 years federal incarceration. State permissiveness fails to override federal mandates, and approximately 200 individuals yearly face arrest for possessing unregistered silencers they believed permissible in Tennessee. But here's the unnoticed trap: merely because purchase is possible fails to guarantee legal possession eligibility. Prohibited individuals and the adolescent record surprise. Federal and state legislation establish multiple prohibited individual classifications, and this is where citizens face blindsiding. Felony convictions are apparent, though domestic violence misdemeanors additionally trigger lifetime lifetime prohibitions under federal legislation. Even if Tennessee reinstates your state privileges, federal legislation may permanently ban you. Specific violent adolescent adjudications may block weapon possession until age 25 in Tennessee. Citizens fail to recognize adolescent records pursue them into maturity regarding firearm privileges. An adolescent aggravated assault adjudication at 16 means you cannot legally possess weapons until your 25th birthday, despite lacking adult conviction. Psychological health commitments and adjudications additionally generate prohibitions, though criteria differ. Involuntary commitment to psychiatric facilities triggers federal prohibition. Court-mandated outpatient treatment sometimes does, sometimes fails to, depending on specific court-ordered terminology. Illicit controlled substance usage is a prohibition citizens overlook. Federal legislation states if you're an illicit marijuana user, you're prohibited from weapon possession. Tennessee maintains medical marijuana legislation, though marijuana remains federally illicit. This generates legal contradiction. You may hold medical documentation under state legislation, though cannot legally own weapons under federal legislation. Active restraining orders may temporarily prohibit weapon possession depending on specific order. Certain restraining orders incorporate firearm prohibitions. Certain fail to. The order itself specifies, though citizens frequently neglect reading details until arrest for violating conditions they never recognized existed. Quick survey. Are you completely confident you're not prohibited under some overlooked classification? Respond yes or uncertain. Certain, even if you're entirely legal. The licensing question retains importance exceeding popular belief. Enhanced licenses and interstate recognition. Tennessee distributes 2 license varieties: concealed exclusively and enhanced. The enhanced license permits open transport and receives acknowledgement from 39 states through reciprocity arrangements. The concealed exclusive license maintains recognition in reduced states that distinction matters when traveling across boundaries for employment or leisure. Permitless carry in Tennessee grants 0 transport privileges beyond Tennessee boundaries. The moment you enter Kentucky, Virginia, or any adjacent state, you're governed by their legislation. Certain acknowledge Tennessee's permitless carry for their inhabitants, though not for guests. Here's the calculation. Approximately 62% of Tennesseans obtaining licenses do so specifically for interstate travel. They lack home necessity for licensing, though require it for roadside legality. The enhanced license course requires roughly 8 hours and runs $100 to $150, varying by instructor, plus administrative costs. The license-exclusive signage represents the secondary motivation individuals pursue one. At establishments displaying concealed weapons by license, exclusively notices block permitless carriers, though permit license holders. If you regularly visit locations posting these notices, specific eateries, shopping complexes, or entertainment locations, the license grants access where permitless carry fails licenses. Additionally, establish legal presumption in tribunal that you've received instruction in screening. Though it ensures nothing, prosecutors and magistrates perceive licensed carriers differently than permitless ones. In any self-protection scenario, possessing formal instruction credentials may influence how your conduct is evaluated, even if legally irrelevant. Alcohol serving businesses and the displayed ambiguity. Tennessee legislation permits handgun transport in eateries serving alcohol, provided you abstain from consuming alcohol personally. Legislation distinguishes eateries from taverns. Eateries principally serve meals. Taverns principally serve alcohol. That's the legal differentiation. Though practically it's confusing since numerous locations perform both. If an eatery displays a no weapons notice, you cannot transport there, regardless of drinking intentions. If they lack display, you may transport, though cannot consume any alcohol. Even single beverage renders you criminal. Legislation maintains zero tolerance. 0.0% blood alcohol isn't the standard. It's zero consumption whatsoever. Age-restricted taverns where 21+ entry is mandatory are typically prohibited for transport, even licensed. These venues fall under distinct statutes than eateries with liquor permits. Here's where complexity arises. Certain franchise eateries maintain inconsistent policies across locations. One location may display, another may not. You're legally accountable for inspecting every entrance, every visit. Display absence last month fails to guarantee absence today. Private associations and membership-exclusive venues generate additional ambiguity. If they serve alcohol, though require membership for entry, varying regulations may apply depending on licensing. Certain operate under eatery permits, certain under private association permits. The signage indicates whether transport is permitted, though underlying licensing determines which transport laws apply. Be genuine. Have you ever transported into an eatery and ordered alcohol without recognizing it was unlawful? No criticism. Simply respond if this regulation surprised you. Transporting legally constitutes one matter, though employing that weapon for self-protection introduces entirely fresh regulations. Stand your ground and the retreat obligation myth. Tennessee embraced stand your ground legislation in 2007, eliminating any retreat obligation prior to employing lethal force for self-protection. You may stand your ground anywhere you maintain legal presence, though this fails to authorize shooting initially and questioning subsequently. The force must remain reasonable and immediately required. The standard evaluates whether reasonable individuals in your circumstances would believe lethal force necessary preventing imminent death or serious physical harm. Reasonable is determined by juries, not your personal anxiety level. Statistically, Tennessee juries convict in approximately 31% of self-protection scenarios reaching trial, meaning claiming self-protection isn't automatic victory. Castle Doctrine extends stand-your-ground concepts to your residence, automobile, and employment location. If individuals forcibly enter these spaces, Tennessee legislation presumes you maintained reasonable fear of death or serious injury. That presumption shifts burden. Prosecution must demonstrate your fear wasn't reasonable rather than you demonstrating it was. But here's the crucial detail: stand your ground fails to apply if you're the instigating aggressor or if you're committing offense at that moment. If you initiated confrontation, you cannot claim self-protection unless you clearly retreated and communicated retreat. Tennessee additionally maintains no warning discharge legislation. Discharging warning shots typically receives prosecution as reckless endangerment. Tribunals interpret warning shots as evidence you didn't genuinely fear imminent death, since individuals in authentic fear shoot neutralizing threat, not frightening it away. Approximately 40% of reckless endangerment prosecutions in Tennessee involve warning shots. The consequences of a self-protection discharge matter equally as the discharge itself. What you communicate to authorities, how you communicate it, and when you retain counsel all influence whether you face prosecution. Tennessee legislation demands no immediate communication with authorities, and maintaining silence cannot be utilized against you in tribunal. Now you understand transport laws, the $500 SNARE, the background investigation system, and even self-protection standards. But the wisest choice involves never requiring utilization of any this information. Compared to most states, Tennessee maintains quality firearm legislation. Truly quality. But here's the genuine life hack. Exercise judgment. Don't leave weapons visible in automobiles. Don't disregard compliant notices. Don't transport where you're forbidden. Appreciate this content. Respond which state you desire covered subsequently, and don't be boring. Make sure you subscribe to Weapons Law Advisor, and don't forget to like and comment on the video to help us reach our amazing milestone of 10,000 subscribers. Every single subscriber matters. Your support is what makes this journey possible.